According to a recent survey by Resume Builder, nearly 4 in 10 companies are likely to have layoffs in 2024. And more than half of companies, they also plan to implement a hiring freeze. That's not good news, especially if you're somebody who's over 50 and you've been thinking, hey, you know what, maybe it's time for me to move on. No, it's not good news at all. But fortunately, I'm going to share with you a fallback plan, and I call this plan my 7 side hustles to start before you get laid off in 2024. Now, these are side hustles that you don't hear a lot about. You also don't need to be tech savvy to do one of these side hustles, and I'm going to say they are among the very, very easiest side hustles you can start. But there's one caveat. If you're somebody who is looking for a side hustle, thinking you want to get a side hustle where you can be sitting behind a desk, sipping on a cup of hot tea, working on your computer, well, these side hustles, these 7 side hustles are not for you. Now, if you want to learn how you can make $500 or more per day, watch this video. Welcome back to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes. Well, as promised, I'm going to tell you about 7 side hustles that you can start before you get laid off in 2024. Now, with each one of these side hustles, you can earn upwards of $500 or more per day. As a matter of fact, a guy who's running one of these 7 side hustles, he reports that he's earned over $295,000. I'm going to tell you about him later on in this video. But for now, what I want to do is I want to just give you one piece of advice. I want to offer you one piece of advice before we get rolling. If one of these side hustles excites you, if it turns you on, and if you decide, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to grow my side hustle, one of these side hustles, into a full-time business. I'm going to suggest that you subscribe to my other YouTube channel, The Side Hustle Rules. On that channel, I offer a lot of side hustle tips I think can help you. Also, you're going to want to check out my Side Hustle Starter Kit. It's what I call the video edition. Now, in that video edition, I walk you through the 8 steps that virtually every entrepreneur, everyone, must take before you launch a business. There's a link to the Side Hustle Starter Kit video edition in the description box of this video. So now let's dive in. Let's dive into our video. Power washing. This is a side hustle that I have a lot of experience doing. I did this side hustle when I first got married. I needed to earn some extra money. My full-time job just wasn't cutting it. So what I did is I ran this side hustle on Saturday mornings, and I did it by renting a gas-powered pressure washing machine from my local hardware store. But you know what I want to mention, though, I only rented it when I had at least 2 jobs because I knew I'd more than pay for the pressure washer, and I knew I could pocket some nice change. So yeah, I rented this. Now I power washed decks, patios, aluminum siding. I did some campers, some boats, driveways, plenty of driveways and sidewalks, and really pretty much anything that I saw that needed a good deep cleaning, something that I was going to be doing outdoors. Now, if you do get into commercial pressure washing, you're going to make a little bit more money. And this service, though, can extend your business to parking lots, warehouses, and you can even do a lot of storefronts. I found that was something I really enjoyed doing because it was outside, could knock it out pretty quickly and make myself some good money, go to the next store. Now, I want to say, earnings in the pressure washing business, it does vary widely, and it varies based on some factors like location, competition, because there probably could be some competition. It also varies on the range of services that you offer. Now, I do know that a small part-time operator like myself, I could generate $300 to $500 a day, maybe a couple $100 per job, $200-300 per job. So yeah, I was making some good money. At least back then, I thought that was great money. I still think it's great money. But you know, it does take someone who's really committed. Now, you could turn this into a full-time gig, and if you do that, I'm convinced you could turn it into a 6-figure business. Now, if you have any specific questions about this business whatsoever, if you got any questions about this business or any of the other businesses, the side hustles I'm talking about today, I'd be happy to answer them during my weekly live stream. I do a live stream for members of my Patreon page. I'm going to put a link a link to my Patreon page in the description box of this video so you can check it out. Office cleaning side hustle. Now, an office cleaning business can be a lucrative opportunity to provide a steady income stream. And steady income streams are really where it's at when you're in business. Now, this side hustle does also offer some scheduling flexibility, but you are more than likely going to work weekends and nights. So if you are somebody who's got that full-time gig, yeah, this could be very, very good for you. Now, there is also potential with this business to scale it up. You could run one or more cleaning crews, which, you know what, if you do that, yeah, you're really increasing your income. You're doing what I call the multiplier effect. Now, with low startup cost and minimal equipment requirements, this is really accessible. It's an accessible venture for just about anyone out there who's watching this video. Now, earnings in this business, you know what, it's going to vary. It's going to vary based on factors like the size of the office, the size of the business, how frequently you visit, how frequently you clean, and it's also going to vary on any particular services you offer. I had an office cleaning guy who did my office, and one day I needed a rug cleaning, carpet cleaning. He rented a machine, he did it, so I paid him. He made some extra cash that way. It was a good hustle for him. Now, your goal, if you decide you want to get into this business, should be to sell monthly contracts. And I recommend immediately telling yourself, hey, I'm going to sell 5 monthly contracts. Now, each time you make a visit, you're making $75 to $100, depending on the size of the office. Now, you're going to want to target niche markets or offer what I just said is specialized services like maybe carpet cleaning. That's going to really boost your income. Now, if you're efficient, if you develop a good reputation, you keep your clients, what we call client retention, you're on your way. You're on your way to making some good cash. Window cleaning. You know, a window cleaning side hustle offers a blend of financial stability and low startup cost, which means that window cleaning is a business that's pretty much accessible for just about anybody out there, anybody who's watching this video. And the demand for clean windows, that is constant. So this gig, it's going to provide you with a reliable and steady income stream. You know, earnings in a window cleaning business, I want to say, it's going to vary. It's going to vary based on factors like whether or not you're focused on say, business window cleaning, or maybe you're going to focus on residential. And things like location, the clientele that you have, and the services that you provide, it's also going to impact your sales. Now, the average hourly rate for a residential window cleaner, from what I found in my research, I'm going to put a link in the description box so you can check it out, is about $25 per hour. However, this can vary, and that varies again depending on a lot of factors like location and maybe even your experience if you decide, hey, I'm going to maybe get a window cleaning gig working for a company. But some areas that have higher costs of living or maybe even more demand for services, well, the rate that you can make or the rate that you charge is going to be higher. Now, for those of you out there who say, you know what, I'm going to work full-time as a residential window cleaner, and maybe you develop this established client base, which after all is your goal, well, your annual earnings can range anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 a year. Now, this is before taxes, and it's before any expenses are taken out. But expenses, as what I've seen anyway, are relatively low. Now, if you decide you want to get into the window cleaning business, what I would do is I'd start out by calling on local businesses in my area. And what I would do is say to them, hey, if I clean your window free, I'll do it free for the first time, but I'll do it if you sign a monthly contract, minimum of 4 times. Now, something that I do recommend is Google search companies in your area, window cleaning businesses. Lots of times you're going to find they're going to put their prices, they're going to list their prices. It gives you what I just think is a really good benchmark to help you get started. Mobile car detailing. The world of car detailing is a business opportunity with lots of growth potential because virtually every car you see, every pickup truck, van, minivan, maybe even a motorcycle or two, well, they're all potential customers. And this is another business that's attractive because of the low startup costs, and that makes it available to just about anybody out there, especially if you got a passion for cars and making money. And what you're doing basically is you're cleaning the interior and the exterior of cars. Now, besides a low barrier to entry, some other things that make this an attractive gig is that you can set your own prices and you can work on your schedule. In a culture where vehicles are prized possessions, delivering exceptional service, detailing, well, when you get a satisfied customer, you get a repeat client. And repeat clients, customers, you know what? That is the name of the game, especially if you want to build a successful business. Now, I looked into what you can make as a car detailer. And according to DetailKing.com, the average price for a cleaning and polishing, detailing is right around $350 to $450. Now, you can make less if you limit your service to, let's just say you only want to do interiors. But either way, if you complete 2 car detailings on a Saturday, you can make in excess of $500. Now, I'm going to put a link to DetailKing.com in the description box so you can check out the website. Stump removal. Now, you may be thinking, what is stump removal? But before I get into it, before I tell you what it is, let me just mention that one of my neighbors did this business years ago. And I always remember him using a piece of used equipment that he paid for. And I always remembered he went out on a Saturday morning, came back Saturday evening, and he always had some cold, hard cash. And he always said, hey, Lou, this is an easy business to do. You ought to think about getting into it. Well, you know what? I forgot about this business up until recently when I ran across a YouTube video where a gentleman was doing this video and he talked about what he's making or how much he makes. I'm going to be telling you about that in just a couple minutes here. But a stump removal business is a type of business. It's just a type of business that specializes in removing tree stumps. And you remove them from residential and sometimes commercial property. After a tree's cut down, I'm sure you've seen those stumps. They can be an eyesore. They can also pose a safety hazard. Well, a stump removal business, what they do is they just go ahead and use specialized equipment and they grind up the tree stumps. And it just makes the stump overall easier to remove. Now, according to IBIS World, this is a $21 billion industry that's experienced 6.7% annual growth in just the last 5 years. Now, if you want to learn more about this business, if you're thinking, you know what, maybe this is something I should look at, I want you to check out a YouTube channel called Chris's Stump Grinding. Now, this channel has over 593,000 views. And Chris, the owner, he says when he started out, he bought about $7,000 worth of used equipment. And he says in 5 years, he used that equipment to make over $295,000. And I'd say that is a return on an investment that even Warren Buffett can't match.
What you talking about?
Now, Chris says his stump grinding business helped him pay off his house, stay out of debt, feed his family, and he says he even got to invest money as the business went on. Now, one of Chris's viewers, he offered this business tip, and I think it's a good one, so I wanted to mention it. He says, I encourage everyone to get the more affordable machines, to learn the business, and then use each machine as a stepping stone. And I think that's great advice. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to Chris's YouTube channel in the description box. Parking lot cleaning service. How many of you have driven by a parking lot? Maybe a small little parking lot. You see somebody out there and they're sweeping. Maybe a couple people are cleaning it up, picking up the trash, sweeping around the curbs and such. Well, chances are they've got a parking lot cleaning service. It's a business that can be ideal for a bunch of reasons. First, it's a low-cost business. It's easy to start and to operate. All you need to start is just a few basic tools like a couple brooms, maybe a dustpan, some trash bags, some trash containers, just one of those easy businesses to start. But it's also recession-proof. Regardless of the economic climate, parking lots are always going to need to be cleared. Now, another thing, it is a lucrative business. According to Side Hustle Nation, it's a podcast. A parking lot cleaning business can generate a six-figure income. Now, I listened to one of the podcasts, one of the guests, who says he started a side hustle with a goal. He wanted to earn about an extra $1,000 a month. Nice goal. But he says 4 summers later, his side hustle, it's now generating a six-figure income. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to the podcast in the description box. But let me give you one more reason why it's a good business. It's flexible hours. You've got a full-time job. you know what? You can clean parking lots on the weekends or in the evening. So it makes it really nice. It can fit your schedule perfectly. Last on my list of 7 side hustles to start before you get laid off in 2024 is painting house numbers on curbs. Now, I'm going to admit, this isn't my favorite side hustle. But it's not my favorite because it's not one of those side hustles where you can make really a big ticket item. But it is one of those side hustles that is easy to start, so I thought I'd go ahead and mention it to you. Now, I first became aware of this business when some college kids knocked on my door and they offered to paint my address on my curb. And they offered to do it for $25. And I thought, you know what? Why not? These guys got some chutzpah. I'll let them do it. Let them make some extra cash and just going to save me. I don't have to do it. So painting house numbers on curbs, yeah, it is a low-cost side hustle that's got, in my opinion, it's got several advantages. First, any house in any neighborhood, pretty much any neighborhood, is a potential customer. Second, all you need to get started is some spray paint, a can of spray paint, and some stencils. But third, it's a straightforward process. It's one of those side hustles that's accessible for just about anybody out there with any skill level, provided you've got some chutzpah. But another thing I do like about it is the flexible schedule. You know, it allows you to work your full-time gig on the weekends. You want to make some extra cash. What you do, you go knock on some doors, you take your can of spray paint and your stencil, and what? Yeah, you're in business. Now, what I know is this. Earnings overall, you know, it's not a big ticket item, as I said in the beginning, but you're just painting house numbers on curbs. You can charge anywhere from $25 to $35, maybe even up to $50 or more per house. And what you could do, if you're inclined to do it, if you're one of those people that's a little bit more motivated, if you want to build a business out of it, well, what you could do is hire some folks to do the work for you, maybe even hire someone to do the sales work, and you're in business. But check it out. Give it some thought. Well, there you go, my friends. I've just told you about 7 side hustles to start before you get laid off in 2024. You may be saying, you know what, Lou, I'm not worried about getting laid off. I'm not going to be one of the people who's working at those companies, you know, the 4 out of 10 companies that are likely to lay off people in 2024. I don't got to worry about that. Well, you know what? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But even if you don't get laid off, why not consider starting a side hustle? Bring in that extra cash, maybe build it into a full-time business. It could be one of the best things that you've ever done. Now, if you've got any questions at all about anything that we've talked about today, go ahead and put that question in the comment box. You could send me an email. You could also check out my Patreon page. If you become a member of my Patreon page, the Side Hustle Rules Patreon page, you can ask me any question, any business question on Saturday mornings. Well, that's all I got for you, my friends. Other than that, have a great day, everybody.